Hi everyone, this is just a short video for my blog. It's just a short one about the top three players that I played against this season, midfielders, and also a couple of youngsters who I expect to go on and have good seasons next season. So in no particular order, the first player on my list would be Lloyd James from Exeter. Lloyd's a player that I played against growing up in Bristol, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. Played against each other throughout those seasons, and we were a bit of rivals growing up. And it's no coincidence that he's played a lot of games this season for Exeter, and that walks hand in hand with their success. I think he's a player that's technically very good, very composed, and often keeps Exeter ticking when they've got the ball, and also protects the back four really effectively as well. I'm intrigued to watch him this weekend in the playoff final, and hopefully they can go one better and obviously join us in League One. So yeah, that'll be the first player on my list. Second player would be David Fox from Plymouth. He's a player that's vastly experienced, played at the highest level. Technically very good, came through at Manchester United. He's that type of player, I think, who knows when to go long, when to keep the ball and play short and retain possession. So I think he's that type of player that most teams, successful teams, need in their makeup. And yeah, he's played the majority of games again, so it's no coincidence that he's had a big impact over the course of the season. And that's obviously one reason why Plymouth have had the success that they've had. Third player on my list would be Tommy Rowe from Doncaster. Complete different player, I think, from the two that I mentioned previous. More of an attacking threat. I think he got 12, 13 league goals, perhaps a couple more in all competitions put together. I think he plays just on the left of a diamond, the way that Doncaster plays. You have to be fit and able to get up and down the pitch. He's strong, nice left foot, and I think again played the majority of games over double figures in goals, double figures in assists. So really one of the pinnacle reasons Doncaster had the success that they had. So I think those three are the three players who certainly from my perspective as a midfielder have had good games against us and sort of posed us the biggest threat from the midfield area. Not necessarily a threat going forward, certainly in Tommy Rowe's case, but players that have impacted games or from the middle of the pitch and who have been good against us. So those three players here will be in that category. Two with the younger players that we've come up against, or I've come up against this season, who I think will have shows great potential and could possibly go on to bigger and better things. The first one would be Tom Owen Evans from Newport. Only 18 years old, just signed a new 2-year contract at Newport, which Newport don't offer too many more longer term deals. But I think a player say 18 years old, he's physically a man already, and certainly had a massive impact in the resurgence that Newport had towards the back end of the season. And for someone so young, I think to play such a pivotal role in that can only be good for for his development. And I think yeah, if he can start the season how he finished it, I'm sure he could possibly go on to bigger and better things, because Newport they've had a good reputation for bringing through good youngsters. And yeah, hopefully for him and the club they can make some money, and he'll have a good career for himself. Second player, young player, I think that had good games against us and has the potential to go on and do good things, would be Dominic Gape from Wickham. I think his first senior game was against us. In fact, he was on loan from Southampton. And in Gareth Ainsworth teams, they're quite physical and they're quite direct. But I could see in the way that he was playing when playing against him that he wanted to try and pass and play as and when he could. But obviously when you're under the instruction to to maybe play a little bit more direct, you've got to be able to do that. And I think he showed that he's able to do that other side of the game as well, which can only bode well for his future and his development. So he's able to get around the pitch really well, break up play, and can also handle the ball well as well. So I think he has all the attributes to possibly go on and do well for himself. So I think those two young players are ones to possibly look out for next season. Obviously not players that will get the headlines all the time, but from a midfield perspective, ones I think that could possibly go on and play at a higher level. So those two youngsters and three more experienced players I think have been the ones that have had the best games against Portsmouth and against myself, and caused me a few problems. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed that little bit of insight there, and I'll speak to you soon.